Tommy, I know there's a lot of payment apps out there. And I also know that a lot of us have friends. And some of us have quite a few friends like you. You're the guy that has so many friends, I don't even know how to keep track. You know everybody.
Where is this going?
Where is this going? Did you know that on Cash App, you can get $15 for inviting your friends to join Cash App? Did you know that?
I actually did not, but now that I do know it, I'm going to be inviting everybody in my phone to Cash App.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking about these dinners that you host where there's 27 people there and you post them on Instagram. Sometimes I don't even get the invite.
Sometimes.
But if you just, I mean, it's 15 free bucks. Easy. It's only on Cash App.
I love it. Only on Cash App.
All right, let's welcome in friend of the show, friend of mine, CP.
Bubs.
Good to have you. Let's clarify one thing real quick because we had you on a little over a year ago, and a common question we would get after the show was, why does CP call JJ Bubs?
Why do I call you Bubs? Because you call everybody else Bubs. I never heard of Bubs. First thing I seen when I came in here was a T-shirt.
Oh shit!
Need one of those.
Yeah.
ASAP.
J. Will, white chocolate.
Yeah.
Played with him 2 years in Orlando. He is the original Bubs.
Did not know that.
Matt Barnes and I played, obviously, with J. Will in 2010. We were teammates. After the Dwight trade, we had like 22 guys in training camp, and I knew like 3 of them. So I just started calling everybody Bubs.
I did not know that.
That first 2 weeks, I didn't know people's names. So then when I got to the Clippers the next year, you know, Matt, of course, is calling me Bubs.
Yeah,
I'm just
Matt,
calling people Bubs.
Jamal
so
Crawford,
Bubs.
everybody. Bubs. You hear Bubs.
But so when did you start calling him Bubs?
Within a week,
telling.
probably.
Yeah, probably right away.
Like that quick?
Yeah, probably right away.
It was quick. It was quick.
It's literally synonymous with him. Like it's him. If I hear Bubs anywhere, that's Bubs.
When we had you on the show last, I didn't even realize this till I was going back and looking at the date. Like, we had you on before you ever played a game with the Suns.
Really?
Yeah, I think you had just moved.
Yeah.
I remember I was in my kitchen.
Yeah.
I remember I was in my kitchen. I think I had a Suns hoodie on though.
Yeah.
That was before games had started.
Yeah. It was in December. You guys are 38-9 coming off a finals appearance. Did you have any idea at the time that things would turn out this way, that you guys would be this good?
Well, hell, we started out 1-3.
I was looking at it. You were 11-9 on February 3rd until then you hit a 6-game winning streak right after that.
Yeah, it's crazy. I don't want to say I knew it, but I think I'm still sort of mad about some of the games we lost. You know what I mean? Of those 9. Because we said it all along that our team, the synergy we had from last season, it's like a well-oiled machine. You know what I mean? So I knew we were capable of it, but I mean, 17 years, this may be the best record I've had personally since I've been in the league. And it's fun, man. Like, obviously winning is fun, but it's a fun team.
When did you realize last year that you guys had a chance to be really good? I'll tell you when I realized it, but I want to hear when you realized it.
When I realized it, you know what it's like playing with me. It was some tough conversations early in the season. You know what I mean? Like, DA was probably ready to fight. Me and DA was probably ready to get into it a few times, maybe a couple other guys or whatnot, but that's part of growing pains, you know, and trying to figure each other out. And then it just started clicking, man. And I tell you that going to Phoenix had a lot to do, of course, with Book, with Devin and the other guys, but Monty too. Like, it's something to be said about preparation. You remember when we talk about when we played for Doc, how we just knew our offense was just so crisp. Like, we knew where each guy was going to be. Man, our offense and defense is like that with Phoenix. Like, it's crazy. When we get late in the game, we just got a few packages depending on who got it going. Like last night in Utah, we was in a timeout. We was trying to think of something. And Devin was like, such and such. You know what I mean? He said this play. I ain't going to say it here. But it's cool. Let me tell you what's cool about our team is because they listen. They listen to you. They listen to the podcast or something like that because they know about what we talked about as far as like 21. like savage, like, you know what I mean? Like Blackjack, Chester Arthur. You remember that?
Yeah.
Chester Arthur? Who was Chester Arthur?
President.
Yeah, 21st president. Shout out to Bubs over here. But our team got that type of continuity now that we can come up with stuff like that on the fly.
So you didn't answer the question. I did appreciate the comment. When did you realize last year?
I don't know. It's still a blur. I don't even remember last season too much, but it was at some point.
We played you guys. So we played Toronto in our first game, Miami on Christmas Day. We went home and played 2 games, and we came and played you guys before New Year's. And you guys beat us by like 35. This was like the 5th game of the season. And expectations for you guys last year wasn't particularly high. I mean, I think most people assumed you'd end up being a playoff team because the way the team finished the bubble and then adding you. But the way you guys moved the ball and played what I would describe as good basketball.
All right.
And Cameron Payne had a big game.
Cam, yeah.
And I just remember thinking to myself, like, wow, they could actually be really good. And even Mikkel talked about this when he came on the pod, like 11-9, 20 games in the season.
That's where we were this year?
That's where you were last year.
Last year.
And he felt like you guys were finals contenders, even at that point.
You know what I started feeling is all these years I've been in the league, obviously, you know, when you come out the game, there's been some teams where you like, man, just hold the lead, just do something. You know, like, you know, even our unit.
We play with the Clippers.
Like our first unit at times, we be up 17, 16 or something like that. And then sometimes the next group come in, you're like, shit, we only up 7. Or it's crazy all last season. And now, you know, I come out the game and it's like, cool. Like I expect when I go back in the game that we going to be up more than it was when I came out.
I was going to ask you about the depth because I don't think a lot of casual NBA fans knew who Cam Johnson was, knew who Cam Payne was, knew who a lot of these guys, they knew who you were, they knew who Devin was. And I think they all knew post-finals or post-playoffs, but like at what point did you realize like, oh, some of these guys who I really haven't played with much actually, you know, they can really go and they can be in a spot where you don't have to worry when you're, you know, sitting on the bench watching them?
Yeah, I knew Cam Payne some. You know, we worked out together in Miami a little bit, but I got to give all that credit to Book because when I got traded, right, and the trade happened, obviously I knew I was going to play with Book, and I was asking him about DA, but he was like, man, you're going to love Mikal Bridges, you're going to love Cam Johnson, you know what I mean? Like he was talking about them, you know what I mean? So shit, that got me excited. I was like, is he gassing them? You know what I mean? Like I was, is Book gassing them? And then I got there and I got a chance to see the way they work too, right? And all that goes to your program. That's what Coach always says. Like he always say the gym be popping. Like it's always, like days off, like it's still guys in our gym shooting and working out. And so you know, it's crazy, man. When you kick it to somebody, you played for a lot of teams, a lot of years. You ain't got to say no names, but you done kicked it to somebody before and you like, please, baby Jesus, let this go in. Right? Yeah. Like you hoping and praying like, please let that one go. No, you kick it to whoever on I expect it to go in. And it's cool playing like that.
You mentioned the growing pains at the beginning of last season and having to have some tough conversations. And this is actually something that I wanted to ask you about. For right or wrong, at times, I think, as a leader and as a teammate, sometimes your delivery for some people can be a turnoff.
Absolutely.
And I'm curious, because I haven't been your teammate now for 5 years, but I'm curious if your own leadership style has evolved post-Clippers, post-Houston Rockets.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's because the first time was back when I played in New Orleans with David West. Forgot who it was. One of my assistant coaches was like, hey, man, you got to be cool how you talk to such and such. You know what I mean? And I think for me, it definitely has changed now. I'm still going to be me out there during the game. And if it's an issue, it's an issue. But I always say this, I ain't never gonna ask you to do something I wouldn't do myself, right? And I had a coach in Houston, I think I told you, he told me the hardest thing is gonna be for me to play with guys who maybe don't care as much as I do, right? But going from the Clippers to Houston, I mean, the way I talked to James was different than I talked to this person or Trevor or something like that. Because when I was in Houston that first year, shit, Trevor would talk crazy to me. Tuck would talk crazy to me. And that was actually good. I kind of like that, you know? And so even with Book now, Jay Crowder probably talk crazy to me than anybody ever has. But that's why our relationship works, right? Because I know he cares. But, you know, some guys you got to coddle, you got to approach them the right way. But when the game on the line, I don't give a damn. You know what I mean? Like, let's get to it.
I was ask both of you guys this because you have a version of this yourself. Do you feel sometimes, especially with like the younger guys, that they're intimidated by you?
No, I don't think so. I don't know. You probably have to ask them.
Yeah.
But this is what I always say, right? So I just seen something the other day. It was a clip showing me like over the years, right, on all these different teams and playing and practice and all that. And I was like talking, right? Like, get back, go, Blake, do this, right? Now, obviously it hasn't ended in a championship, but I feel like a lot of these guys who don't talk on the court and don't really hold each other accountable, but be like, oh, that's my dog, you know what I mean? That's my dog. And then later they be talking to their homies like, this sorry motherfucker. You know what I mean? Like that ain't real.
Yeah.
That ain't real. And if you're not gonna talk and communicate out there on the court, but then you're gonna talk crazy about them back here, and then you lose, like, I don't understand it. So
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm not gonna necessarily answer your question because I don't think anybody was necessarily intimidated by me. But to my question to Chris, like there were times as your teammate where I wanted to punch you in the fucking face.
Oh, I know it. For sure. Same.
Yeah, no doubt.
Same.
But the communication was always there. And I always appreciated that you and I, in the middle of the third quarter, could tell each other to fuck off. But then after the game, we'd go get dinner and play cards.
Yeah, because I knew that's you wanted to win.
Well, that's what I always tell people. I'm like, I never had an issue with CP's leadership style or, of course, CP as a teammate because I know at the core of everything he's trying to do, he's got one agenda. And it's the same agenda I had. I don't have any other agenda when I go into a game. I'm like, I want to hoop, obviously. I want to play well, but I want to win. And that's why I don't think you and I ever had an issue.
Yeah, I think the hardest part in my entire career was anytime there was a different agenda. And in our league, people don't necessarily say it, but you can see it. We ain't dummies. Ain't nobody a dummy. You know what I mean? So I honestly say that if there was ever some type of other agenda, that was the only time I ever had an issue.
Do you think, I was thinking about this the other day actually, do you think that the public perception of you as this drill sergeant, tough leader has changed?
I doubt it.
No, I mean it's at one point I think like the discourse around it was that, oh, Chris must be tough to play with.
Right.
And now the discourse to me is like it's praised and it's you've gotten to a point now where you're so established as one of the all-time great players and you've done that a certain way for so long that it's actually appreciated.
I think to a certain extent, because time, you know what I mean? Like that sort of shows stuff. Like think about all them articles that came out about our team when we played with the Clippers, right? Like,
or even you with Houston.
Yeah, me and Houston. Or think the Clippers, like all these Blake and DJ articles or whatever. Like me and DJ like best friends. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that goes to show you, and that's why now, like not playing in LA and watching other teams and seeing every story drop or whatnot. And I just think to myself, like, it's a different beast out there. You know what I mean? You think you want to just go out and hoop, but you're trying to manage what story is dropping. Think about it being in the training room. We used to be in the training room, right? And people would be getting stretched. And on the TV, it'll be like, what the hell is wrong with the Clippers locker room now? Like, just an example, like, why is JJ Redick talking crazy about Chris Paul? You know what I'm saying? It's on the TV and everybody in there like, we gonna act like we don't see this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's just
like after like 2 losses in a row, everyone comes out.
So that like perception or whatever, to a certain extent, it used to bother me a little bit because like I knew the real. Yeah. You know what I mean? I knew the real, but then I got to a point to where it's like, man, the thing that I haven't done, I haven't won like a championship. You know what I mean? Like think about Kobe, right? Like Kobe was like that. You know what I mean? But he won. You know what I mean? So it's like you win, everybody cool with it. You know what I mean? Like seriously.
Well, okay. I agree with you to the extent of the people that potentially are not offended. Your leadership style at times maybe rubs in the wrong way. If you were to win as their teammate, yes. But in your defense, every single place you've gone, you've won. You just haven't won it all. You've made every team you've ever been on, every franchise you've ever been on better.
Yeah, but we ain't won. It's just plain and simple. We ain't won a championship. But I know that I'm not going to stop playing. You know what I mean? I'm not going to be like, shit, I need to stop, man. I ain't won yet. That's out. That's not going to happen. You know what I mean? I'm not going to stop competing the way that I do or whatnot during the game where people are like, damn, he always complaining. Damn, he doing this, he doing this. Man, I watch every game every night.
You're a sicko.
Yeah, that is me. And so when we in a game and something happen, shit, I'll tell you right now, you know if you get fouled in the middle, like in a game, right? Not to sweep through yet, Bubs, but you know if you get fouled in a game, like in the middle of the court, right? Did you know that you get to choose which side you want to take the ball out on?
I most certainly did.
You knew that.
I most certainly did.
Right.
And I've argued with some referees about that.
Okay,
before.
okay. I got a tech like recently, like some games ago, because we got fouled in the middle. I got fouled in the middle of the court. And so I wanted to take the ball out on the left side. Why, Bubs? So then when I get the ball, I'm coming to my right hand, right? So I was like, hey, we want to take it out over here. Official was like, no, over here. I was like, no, we want it over here. The rule is you take, okay, now we're doing one of those, you know what I mean? So now I'm mad, right? you think I'm trying to like show you up or something. I'm just going by the rules. Man, ended up, I do the competition committee stuff or whatever, and I just had to ask just so I could be sure. I was right. The official was wrong. You know what I mean? So then, there could be blowback at times because of that. You know what I mean?
There certainly is the way you treat referees.
Oh, yeah. For sure.
There's some blowback there.
For sure. But the thing is that, I don't know, when you out kicking it, playing video games or doing whatever, I'm watching games. You know what I mean? Like I always say this, each game is decided by like 1 point, right? Like each possession. So don't it matter?
It does. This leads me to something I wanted to bring up. And I mean this as a compliment. I mean it as a compliment.
That's like when somebody say,
would you agree that probably along with LeBron, that the two of you are the most manipulative players in the NBA?
If you want to use that word, that's fine. Manipulative as far as what? As far as the game? Or you talking about like people?
No, not at all. I'm talking about the game. I'm talking about basketball. Let me clarify that. So manipulate, like I always when I talk about you, and we'll get this, actually will lead into some clutch time stuff and crunch time stuff, but I always talk about you. I'm like, Chris is going to find a way to manipulate every possession. And what you're talking about with the referees, now most guys wouldn't care, but you probably know if I take it out on the left side, our team scores 1.25 points per possession. If we take it on the right side, we score.
Now, I don't know that much, but I'll tell you this. When I played in Houston, if you were smart enough and watched the games and paid attention enough, if we took the ball out on the right side and James was taking the ball out, right, I was going to come up, and instead of setting a rip screen, I was going to set a flip screen, right?
You throw it to the big at the elbow.
Yep.
Come up, flip it. He gets off to his left hand.
because he's taking it out on the right side.
Right.
If we took the ball out on the left side, guess who was going to take the ball out?
You.
Exactly. But why don't everybody else realize that? You know what I mean? Like,
No,
it's a game.
but this leads me to my point about
Draymond said this about you the other day, about you and LeBron specifically, about how you guys think the game differently than anybody else. And he just said it straight up. And he's played with a lot of great
use
players.
the word manipulate.
Yeah,
I like that word.
If I was playing you in tic-tac-toe, if I was playing you in Connect Four, right? Am I manipulating you where to move? You know, or am I just thinking, right? Like,
You've already described like 7 different scenarios where you've manipulated something.
listen,
Bismack Biyombo in a pick and roll wants to come up on the right side. No, I'm gonna tell him to come up on the left side so that I can. Well, I won't give the secrets away. But,
no, it's fine.
but I'm saying like that's
change.
an example. You're like manipulating possession. You're gonna find if you know the other team's switching, you're gonna find the matchup. You're gonna hunt. You might run 5 different ball screens until you get the 5th defender that you want.
Why the hell not? When we ran floppy, right? Every time I ran floppy, did you come off the left side?
Of course.
No.
Oh no!
Well,
the left
okay,
side.
you came off the left
To
side.
my right
but you
hand.
Exactly.
Yeah, to my right hand.
So, are you manipulating, or are you just trying to get to the best spot for you to be efficient?
Again, I'm not saying that I didn't manipulate at times. My larger point here is that there were certain possessions that I manipulated.
Yeah.
Or I thought the game every possession.
Yeah.
But not to the level. Like you're a sick fuck, man.
Listen. It's so crazy. So when you come down, it's like when I played for Byron Scott when I first came into the league. The first play of every game was a ball screen. The first play, we used to run forwards outside, right? That was the play. I dribble, handoff, swing it back, ball screen. And that was just so that we could know how they guard in the pick and roll, right? So as soon as I see that, now I know. So I feel like in the game, because to me, it's still a game. It's like chess. It's like anything that you're playing, right? Like I don't want to put my guy in a bad position, you know? So if it is manipulating, especially down the stretch, you damn right. I got to figure out how we going to get the best shot we going to get. Okay, y'all going to be on the drop? Okay, cool. Low man, he going to come over early so I can't throw the lob? Okay, cool. I'm going to hit the guy on the wing for the 3. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, the thinking the game, I appreciate. I appreciate the manipulation as well. I guess to a larger point about, to me, obviously your skills are amazing. The larger point to me about what makes you so great and why you have been so great for so long is competitive stamina. And this, I mean, I've known you a long time. This is true in every area of your life. And at times I think to myself, God, Chris must be exhausted. Do you ever get exhausted? Not
when
from
the game.
not physically
no,
from
I know
running.
that. Yeah, I know that. But
You know what I'm
like,
saying?
you know what it is? And this is like being 1,000% honest. It's like I couldn't imagine not being on the team that I'm on right now, to tell you the truth. Because even like last night in Utah, right? We had just played Utah. I think I played 40 minutes. I played 40 minutes the last 2 games. And then last night I played 38, right? And it's not like tired exhaustion. It's just you prepare. You know what I mean? You know, it's a full-time job, like the tissue work, the body work. And then some of these games, it's like, okay, all right, here we go. Get loose, do all my lifting and stuff. And our team's energy before we run out for a game, oh man, it like gets me going. And then as soon as I get going and the game starts or whatnot, it's that competitiveness, right? Like a fan said something crazy to me last night in Utah. Excuse me.
Shocking.
Yeah, and you know me, I'm the one, I talk back. I always tell them, you ain't at the zoo. You know what I mean? I talk back, you know, and so it's fun. It's fun.
Who said this the other day? Was it Matt? Matt Barnes? Where he said, like, Chris, basically, the best players, Chris included, you're always coming up with ways to motivate yourself. Sometimes fictional. Sometimes it's real. Sometimes it's fictional. Do you find that comes naturally, even at you're 36, even at 36? Is it natural still? Or as you've gotten older in your career, later in your career, does it does it become more about like you searching out, finding those things like to motivate you?
I think that stuff just naturally always it's gonna be there. Like I haven't won, so that ain't going nowhere, right? So that's always gonna be sort of lingering there. And then I told y'all about when I was with OKC. You know, I'm a firm believer in the hell with the status quo, right? So all that, like I be thinking about that clip from Tom Brady, man. Like I'm a big Tom Brady fan. Big Tom Brady fan. So, you know how people be like, oh, are you a fan of this team? Are you this fan of this team? Like sometimes I'm a fan of that player, right? Y'all remember who was it? Max Kellerman some years ago that said that Tom was done, right?
Yeah.
You see what the hell he been doing?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So why at this age do you have to be done? Right? I think I said it on the last podcast when they was like, oh, Bron's gonna slow down. Why? Why? Because he don't do what you do? You know what I mean? So I think that's the competitiveness in me you know, knock on wood, I try to do everything to stay as healthy as possible. But why? Because I'm 36, do I gotta rest? Do I gotta sit back to back? It's like, why? Like,
we were talking about this the other day. Do you think that this mentality can be learned behavior? Like, can a young guy watch you and maybe they're not going to become you know, in terms of what they accomplish and everything like that, but they can change their mentality by seeing how you operate? Or is there something like, you're just born like this?
Answer it honestly, Chris.
Yes, you're just born like this, and there's actually nothing.
no,
you
I'm
can
thinking
do
like while you're telling me, and I promise you, I'm thinking of all because at this point in the journey, like I can literally think back to so many different examples of why I am the way I am. And a lot of it has to do with some of my teammates, some of my vets. You know, there's a lot of stuff that I don't remember. Like shit, I don't even remember playing y'all last year around Christmas. But I vividly remember being on the line at the Clippers facility and we running sixes with Rich. And he was like, if y'all make this one, right, y'all ain't got to run the sixth one. We had ran 5 of them. And I knew JJ, but I ain't know him like that. And he was like, if y'all make this one, you know, y'all ain't got to run the 6th one. So what do most people say? If you running these crazy, what was it?
It was the guards had to do it in 30 seconds. It was 6 lengths of the court in 30 seconds. Bigs had to do it in 32.
Right.
And there was a minute break in between. So
right.
we had run 4 in a row. We were getting ready to run the 5th one.
Easy.
But he had told us the test was we had to do 6.
Yeah, he said the test was we had to do 6. He ain't never told you the story, huh?
No.
So the 4th one, he said, all right, if everybody get it on this 5th one, we done. And this shit is hard. Like this running is hard. So we do the 5th one, everybody run it hard, and we make it. And he's like, we done. And I never forget it. JJ was like, we not done. He said that. He was like, we not done. You know what I mean?
I think I said, fuck that, no shortcuts or something.
Yeah, yeah. That's exactly. I remember him saying, no shortcuts. We ain't taking no shortcuts, right? So that right there, right? And even when I was in college, like when you was doing weightlifting or something like that, and they told you had 10, you had to do 10, the weightlifting coach might walk away, you know, and they used to always say, don't cheat the deeks. Don't cheat the deeks, right? So you do 8 of them or something like that. Even though he don't know, you know, right? So when he said that no shortcuts, like that still sticks with me, right? I think about working out with Bobby Jackson when I was younger, you know, in the weight room and just seeing all that. That stuff sticks with me now, and it's the best job. They pay me to play basketball. A lot of money to play basketball. What the hell you mean? I'm gonna show up and damn near show out every time I can. Yeah.
Before we move on from the manipulation thing, I promise you we talk about the rip through.
Yeah.
Where do you talk with the rules committee? Where do you stand on the rip through? Should it be a foul, or should we kind of move it the same way that the jumping backwards into people, and the ball rip through that James Harden does?
What you think? Like seriously, it don't matter to me.
I think
like whatever you do,
I think sometimes it is a basketball move.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes if you're in a triple threat position and you see the guy's top foot and you attack the guy's top foot, sometimes it is a legitimate basketball move and a foul.
You know.
Other times when you got the ball over here and the guy puts his arm out and you're not even attacking and you're just ripping the ball through to get arm contact, That to me is a non-basketball move.
Okay, that's fine. You know who I blame it on too?
Kevin?
No. KD used to do it and stuff like that. But I blame it on the teachers, like the coaching. How do they teach when a ball screen comes, Bubs? When the ball screen comes, what do? Jump into the ball. Mm-hmm. Is that not how it's taught? Mm-hmm. Like, tell them, like, for real, how is it taught?
If you're on the side and a team that ices or downs, blues, whatever the call is, where you're forcing at baseline, when you jump to the side, they tell you to basically arm bar the hip, put your arm on the hip.
Right.
You can't move your arm out of position once the guy starts to rip through.
And so
you're dead meat. So you basically have to do this.
Boom, exactly. So for me, like, I actually play defense, and I played defense for a long time. I know how to guard a guy without putting my arm in there, especially if that's what the guy likes to do. Then I'm going to get in there with my body and keep my arm out there, right? Like, we get paid a lot of money to watch a lot of games, and you mean to tell me on the damn scouting report it's not on there that I'm going to do the rip through? Whose fault is that? You know what I mean? Like, I initially even said that about the James thing, right? Like the driving and, guys reaching in there. Don't reach in there.
Yeah.
If you know he does. Like, that's a skill, actually.
One of the moves that, again, this is the way it's taught, but it's also just legal guarding position. Mm-hmm. So if James is driving, let's say he's driving left, and you're sliding with him, you are legally allowed to keep your arm on his body.
If a guy reaches under there.
What James does is he reaches underneath your arm with his arm that's not handling the ball, and then he tries to bring it back over to the ball and then flails his arm, and it looks like a foul.
Now, I completely understand that. Now, that shouldn't be, right?
Okay.
It shouldn't be. But when a guy drives in there and they extend their arms or something
and
like
slap
that,
down,
and the guy slap down and reach,
that's a foul.
And then they want to call that on the side, no, that should be a shooting foul, right? At least I believe so. Hell, we probably would have won in Houston if they would have did that when we was playing. But like, at what point are we gonna hold guys accountable for, like, knowing the game, right? Knowing the game. So if I get the ball late down the stretch or something like that, and I call for a ball screen, and you not thinking enough that what's not, you want to get into the ball like that. That's my fault.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? That's my fault.
Okay. All right. But it's a non-basketball move. Sometimes it is. You will admit that. Sometimes you do the rip through and it's a non-basketball move.
No, I ain't say that. I didn't say it's the non-basketball move, because this is the other thing too. And if we really want to get technical, this is what I really get mad about. You know how I shoot when we play ones.
I know. It's a valid point. That is how you get the ball to your pocket.
When we play one-on-one,
that's how you get the ball to your shooting pocket.
Or whatnot. And that's how I shoot. Like, I know how to shoot like that. You probably didn't know that. Like, if you ever see me play one-on-ones, I actually do that.
17 jabs, and he moves the ball side to side, and then he just shoots off.
So if we really want to get technical, when they say, the refs get off by doing that too, don't they? They be, on the side. And I be thinking to myself, like, I don't even want to go into that. But that's actually how I shoot a jab shot, is I sweep it through like that. But I can see how it could be frustrating, because people be like, big dummies, get your arm out of there.
I'm trying to think how to ask this in a way that makes sense, but.
Sidebar, Devontae Graham got me on that, just for the record.
Recently?
This year, we was playing against New Orleans, and I got into the ball or whatever, and Devontae sweep through, and I was like, okay. All right.
Somebody's been watching.
Got me.
You are one of the greatest point guards of all time. First ballot Hall of Famer. You've done it, like we said, at an extremely high level for 17 years. But we live in this culture that somebody's career essentially is not completely validated unless they win a championship. That's just reality. You have also talked a ton already, and I know you, about how important that championship is, that elusive thing that you haven't accomplished, the one thing you haven't accomplished in your career. Do you need it to validate your own career?
You know what's crazy, Bubs, is some years ago, if you would have asked me that, like while you were talking, like my stomach would have started getting tight or something like that. But I'm so at peace, like for real. But what I'm telling you, when I say that, man, I'm going to fight my ass off to win this championship this year, the next year, whenever it may be. But I'm not like, oh man, I'm going to just die. You know what I mean? Like I've had so much time over all these years to think about it and process it, man, that I'm in such a good place to where I get to hoop, Like we talked about it, like I'm so grateful and blessed that I still get to play. But a couple guys after my draft class, you know what I mean? And I can't imagine the feeling of winning a championship. First of all, just because I seen how good it felt to win the Western Conference this past year. But I ain't gonna lie to you, I'm sure there's guys that didn't won the ship that would love to flip places right now. You know what I mean? Just from that joy of playing. Like I said it the last night. Me and what's his name? Coach Quinn Snyder. He said something last night, and I said something slick. We was talking back and forth to each other last night, and I was like, man, I'm just happy. I'm blessed. I still get to hoop because you know how you keep calling me a sicko. Mm-hmm. I'm paying attention to that first and foremost too. But
but that's the thing. I know you are.
But that's the thing. Like I can't imagine like Bubs. Like right now, I cannot imagine not playing. Right? Like I'm still obsessed with the game, with playing. So like I don't know. I'd be tripping if I'm not hooping.
To your point about winning the West last year, disappointment aside of not winning at all, do you have like just a perspective looking back, just like what an accomplishment it was for you to basically get to that team and reach that point and run through the West in the way that you did?
Absolutely. It's I keep saying this. I was talking to my teammates about it last night. Like you were saying, like the world now is like you got to win the championship. I think sometimes people tend to forget about the journey, all of it. And I'm saying that, like, I know some people will be like, shit, that's what the hell a loser say. You know what I mean? But no, this is for real because I don't know when this is going to drop, but my biggest goal right now, and I keep talking to my teammates about it, is to get my coaches into the All-Star game, right? Like, what the hell is wrong with celebrating small victories along the way? Like, we know what the ultimate goal is to win a championship, but somebody might be like, oh, they just want to do this in the regular season. What the hell? We just supposed to just do nothing all regular season? Is just win and go to sleep and don't celebrate nothing? Like, no. Like, I'll be the first one to tell you, the deadline, I think, for the best record is like February 6th. And if we got the best record, my coaches and my coaching staff who've never done it, they get to coach the All-Star game, right? So that Western Conference thing, it was cool, but we've been there, done that. You know, now let's do something else.
How were you after the finals? The aftermath of being up 2-0 and then not winning?
Man, it's so crazy because that's a blur too. It's probably only a few things here and there. Like I usually remember games, like games in detail. I don't remember all of them like that. And I don't know if it's because it was so much going on. It was so new. But it was tough, like walking off the court. I remember being in the locker room. I think we flew back home. I don't know how many days it was before I went home. Then I went home and I had surgery. But it was tough for a while, but it was all right, let's get back to work. Get back to work.
There's one play during that run I wanted to ask you about, and that was DeAndre Ayton's tip in at the buzzer, which was a crazy play. But as someone who nitpicks everything,
rules and stuff,
yeah. How badly was that defensive possession botched?
It was horrible. It was horrible.
There were so many things wrong with it.
But see, that's where we go back to the details and stuff, and you think about game, like every point matters, right? So when you get, like, one thing that our team, like, coach don't play with is fourth quarter techs, right? Fourth quarter text, coach don't play with that. Our team, we don't play with that. And so over the course of a game, like I don't know if we didn't talk about this before, but you know one of my biggest pet peeves in watching games is people who do not shoot the ball at the end of a quarter. Right? Mm-hmm. Right? Mm-hmm. I ain't with none of that.
Right. If you to save the percentages.
If it's 0.4 on the clock, give me the ball. I'm going to throw it. If you think I can't shoot, go under the screen then, damn it. If you're going to look at my percentage and say I can't shoot, then cool. But if you make it, it's going to help you win. But what does everybody do?
They jump up in the air, they wait till they hear the buzzer, and then they release the ball.
Right.
I was guilty of that at times.
Yeah, that's bullshit, Bubs. That is bullshit. Because seriously, think about it. I was
trying to lead the league in 3-point
See,
percentage.
That's what I'm saying. See, that's the craziness in the game, right? And somebody will say, I'm a sicko, but I'm trying to win this game by 1 point that matters, right? So if I shoot this ball and it goes in this particular game, that might be the reason we win. But I'm worried about what the hell my damn 3-point percentage is. And all that. No, I'm just being serious. That's not just you, just most of the league.
Let's be honest. When we played together with the Clippers, Jamal was taking every one of those shots. He was actually asking for the ball and would shoot the half-court shot.
Jamal but I've always done it, and I still do. Like, I don't care if it's 0.3 and I steal it, I'm shooting it. And I'm going to tell you, when I'm watching games and I see a guy do that, I'll be like, man, I don't want to play with his ass. You know, and it goes back to, like, talking about that play. All right, I was home because of COVID. And I was in there like nervous as a wreck watching the game by myself. And as soon as it happened, right, the casual fan, what was they yelling? Goaltending.
Right.
Goaltending. Right. That's a goaltend.
Right.
Nope. Guess who the first person I called was? I told you?
No.
Tyson Chandler.
Oh, because he did it in Phoenix.
Boom. Yeah. Against Memphis. I remember the game. I was watching the game when that happened. And that's where it goes back to knowing the rules, right? Because somebody probably saw him jump up there and they like, I ain't got to worry about that. But at the end of the game situations, if you shoot, you can shoot it.
My issue was the angle defending the inbounds pass.
Who was the guard? I know, never mind.
And then the switch on the back screen was just bad.
It's all good.
So
I wasn't tripping.
Did you when you had 41 in that closeout game, was there like a full circle moment with you with your history with the Clippers?
Man, it absolutely was. It absolutely was. See, people don't even know this, and I'll tell you this. So I missed them first two games, right? The day before game 3, I woke up and I had to go over to the hospital to do all my heart stuff. And that was actually kind of freaky and scary because, you know, we do all those heart exams before the season, but all that's usually just like routine stuff. You ain't worried about it. But I had to go over to UCLA and let them check to see if COVID had did anything with my heart. So then I met the team over at Staples when they flew in, and I went over there and sort of shot a little bit. And then as we was running out on the court for game 3, I was a little nauseous. I got out there on the court and was doing my stretching, and I ran off the court and I threw up crazy, like right, because I didn't want to do it on the court. I got right back there in the locker room and stepped foot in there and I threw up everywhere, right? That was game 3. We lost that game. Then we won, game 4? Yeah, we won game 4, went back home, lost game 5. So now we got game 6. In game 6, I had my finger stuff going on. So I was playing with these two fingers taped together, right? All right, that was my shooting hand. Game 6, I woke up, went over to the gym to shoot before a shoot around and said, the hell with this tape. Like, I need to be able to shoot. I need to be able to shoot. And so, that game, it was so crazy because obviously all my family was up in the suite. Beating a team who, you know, we had rode for so long. We heard every disrespectful thing you could hear about the Clippers in LA. And then having those familiar faces. Like a lot of people don't realize Wayne was there, and Billy Crystal, who's still one of my close friends that I talk to all the time. And so that was something I'll never forget, was to get to where I'd never been being back there.
Could you actually shoot the ball during the Lakers series?
No, that is a great question right there. That's why y'all so good, Buzz. I have all these conversations with all my people like at the house and stuff like that.
I mean, I knew you were banged up.
Hey,
but
man,
in watching,
that was the
it seemed like
craziest thing.
you couldn't actually shoot the ball, like physically.
Type of shit I only tell JJ. You probably the only person that would think to ask me this stuff. But yo, so that happened, right? I went to the back, and the doctor's back there or whatnot, and they talking about a stinger or something like that. I went out there. You should go find this clip. I hit a shot from the right elbow because that was game one. I heard it right. I hit a shot from the right elbow. I done had some crazy injuries. This was probably one of the craziest ones because dribbling. That's what I do. Bubs. I would dribble, and the ball wouldn't come back up. Like
because you had no strength. Yeah,
and it was the scariest thing ever. Like I would dribble and be like, whoa, why am I losing the ball? Why am I losing the ball? So it was a shot that I hit, and I literally grabbed it and I threw it. I threw it from the right elbow, and it went in. And I like turned and looked at my brother, and I was like, I don't know how the hell that just went in. So then, my tissue lady who was in town, and Donnie who works on me, we went to the house after the game. Boom, working on it, trying to work on it and all this stuff. Game two, went out there. I don't even know why they was guarding me. Like I could not shoot it. I was faking the funk though.
Do you think they knew?
Man, I don't know. And if you go back and look at it, like you will see like from game to game, they wasn't sure because they would like go trap and then they was like, should I close out to him? Should I close out to him? I could not shoot at all. I couldn't raise my arm.
Yeah. Like
if I did get my arm up and Donnie would push my arm down, I couldn't resist. It would just drop. So, dang, I'm telling you, everything. I don't like MRIs, right?
Oh, I do know that.
I'm claustrophobic.
I'm very, very aware of that.
Like I'm very claustrophobic. I don't like it, right? So I don't like it. Like if you ever hurt like a hand or wrist or anything like that and you have to do an MRI, they make you go in there like this, right? Face down like this. And they give you that little thing that you can squeeze or whatever to be like,
emergency.
Get me the hell out of here, right? So, and I done had 4 hand surgeries, so I sort of know this. But in LA, they actually got an MRI thing that you don't have to go in. You just get to sit there and put your arm in, right? I'm the guy who will fly to LA just to make sure. So, but when I hurt my shoulder, guess what, Bubs? They said they needed to do an MRI, right? So guess what that means? Full body got to go in there. Guess who couldn't do it? Me. They had to put me under. Well, I'm not lying.
You had to go under for an MRI?
Yep. Jada went with me. Yep. They had to, because just my nerves, man. So I did that with my shoulder or whatnot and my neck. Then I ended up going to see a neurologist who told me that we don't need to be like messing with it or pressing on it. He said the only way it can get better is if you don't use it at all. So in that series, I wasn't doing shoot around. I wouldn't touch a ball. I wouldn't do anything until the game. And so then it gradually started getting a little bit better. And then, what was the game in LA? Was that game 5?
Did you guys beat them 4-1?
No, 4-2.
4-2 was game 6.
And you blitzed them in the last game.
So game 4, I don't know. You should ask Monty. Monty could probably tell you better than me. I think it was game 4. I get to the arena. And Monty called me into his office and told me I wasn't playing. Right? I didn't tell you this. Monty called me in his office and told me that I wasn't playing. He was like, you can't do nothing. Like, you can't operate. Like, because that's what started stressing me out too, is because I didn't want to not play, right? I felt like I'd be letting my team down. But I also, in my back of my mind, I felt like I was hurting the team. And I didn't know if the guys on the team would really tell me, like, Chris, you fucking us up. You know what I mean? And so that was, dang, you bringing back all these memories. I forget about all this. That was tough. So we get to the arena to play against the Lakers, and Monty called me in his office. He was like, Chris, I'm going to sit you today. I was like, what? He was like, you're not being yourself, you know? And I was like, Coach, no, I ain't with that. I went and called the neurologist, right? And the neurologist said, because I wanted to find out if I could make it worse, right? If playing, I could make it worse. He said I couldn't make it worse. So I said, Coach, I'm playing. If you think that I'm hurting the team too bad, it's your decision to take me out. We won the game, Bubs. We won. So yeah, that's crazy. Yeah.
Could you get the ball? Like, could you physically get the ball from the 3-point line to the basket?
Not until no.
I'm saying, when did that? Like, that was the whole series. Once you got hurt.
Not till game 5 that I feel like I could. I missed the 3 at the top of the key. Right. I missed the 3 at the top of the key, and I looked over at their bench like, it's coming back. It's coming back. So yeah, them other games, I lie to you not, they shouldn't have came nowhere near me. I could do absolutely nothing. Like, you should have seen it. I started being in the dunker. This is one play that I vividly remember. I was in the corner, and Book had the ball on the wing, and Dennis Schroeder was guarding me, and Dennis completely left me, and I stood in the corner, and I was like, oh my God, I've never had this feeling. Like I can't shoot. Yeah.
This brings me to my point, which is, this is the problem with prognosticators who, there were some people who said that both you and Milwaukee, you made it to the finals because of injury.
Well, I don't be worried about that.
Hold on a second.
Yeah.
You specifically probably know better than anyone how much luck and good health is involved in making a deep playoff run.
Right.
Because you've had, you had the hand thing in Portland in 2016. The previous year, everybody knows we blew a 3-1 series lead.
Oh yeah, Houston.
But you hurt yourself you hurt your hamstring in game 7 against the Spurs. You missed the first 2 games of that series, one of which we lost, game 2. Do you have any perspective on that? How much in every season, pretty much, you can point to, Kawhi was hurt. Kawhi got hurt in the Utah series. He missed your series. You got COVID in that series.
Yeah.
You beat the Lakers with one arm. My point is, in every year, you can probably point to 1 or 2 things happening or not happening in a team's favor.
But you remember, that's what Doc used to say all the time.
100%.
Doc used to say that.
And the Warriors got pissed when Doc said it, but he's right.
Yeah. Doc used to say that all the time. He used to tell us that. He used to be like, fellas, you got to be good, but sometimes you got to be lucky. You got to be lucky. So, shit, I'm ready to be lucky. Right? Like for real. But I mean, it is what it is. Injuries happen. Like when I got hurt in Houston, like I told you, I went to a dark place for a while. You know what I mean? But I'm over it. I don't dwell on it. I think I got to a point in my life where a lot of people that go through things, they realize that there's no way I'm here doing what I'm doing now had that not happened. Because so many things changed in my life and the way I approach things because of those situations.
It's a new year, but nothing really has changed, right? I mean, we're all still as busy as ever. We've got things to do and people to see, and none of us want to spend time in line at the grocery store or hunched over the stove. But you don't have to, because now you can leave meals to Factor. Factor makes it easy to eat clean 24/7 with fresh, never frozen, prepared meals that are so delicious you wouldn't believe they're actually good for you.
Factor saves time by delivering chef-crafted meals to your doorstep, eliminating the hassle of grocery shopping and meal prep, not to mention cleanup. Each Factor meal arrives pre-prepared and ready to eat in 2 minutes, and their registered dietitians and expert chefs work hand in hand to create meals with nutritious ingredients.
Plus, with more than 27 meal options each week, you never get bored. I've used it, and it's great. Factor even knows my preferences, which is really cool, and they offer just about everything you can imagine to keep you fueled all day long. Head to go.factor75.com/plans and use code JJ120 to get $120 off over your first 5 weeks of meals. That's code JJ120 at go.factor75.com/plans for $120 off. Having trouble sleeping? Well, there's help. Plus, CBD can be the answer. Daily use of Plus CBD sleep gummies gets you the rest you need so you can wake up feeling focused and refreshed. Formulated by a team of medical experts and doctors, Plus CBD sleep gummies taste great and are made with award-winning CBD combined with melatonin, magnolia bark, and lemon balm. Sleep better tonight at pluscbdoil.com and enter promo code JJ for 40% off your order. Also, don't let aches and pains keep you away from your fitness goals. New Plus CBD pain relief topicals soothe sore muscles and joints so you power through your workout and bounce back faster between sessions. Plus CBD pain relief topicals feature a potent blend of CBD, menthol, and camphor to keep you pain-free and performing at your best. It doesn't matter if you're competing at the highest level or just trying to stay fit, the Plus CBD Sport Recovery Stick and Penetrating Pain Cream are the perfect complements to your training routine. Shop now at pluscbdoil.com and enter promo code JJ for 40% off your order. I know you don't care about this, but this topic has come up a bunch in the last week, and certainly in my new job it's come up, and that's the idea of Chris Paul as the MVP. And I said this the other day, and I'm not saying you shouldn't be in the discussion,
right,
but I said this the other day. There's a group of people who think that Chris Paul is the MVP of the Phoenix Suns. There's a group of people that think Devin Booker is the MVP of the Phoenix Suns. That fact sort of hurts the two of you. And then you look at your clutch numbers, both of you. Your team's on-off net rating, the main group, Mikal, Jay, DeAndre, you, Devin. What do you think has allowed you guys to be so good in clutch time?
First and foremost, what I do know playing for so long is that even them conversations can become toxic to teams, right? Where guys start trying to figure out, shit, I'm the MVP, or he, you know what I'm saying? So I'm glad that me and Book got the relationship to where we can talk, because we didn't seen that movie before, Bubs. So they need to calm that down. You know what I mean? Ain't nobody with all that. But I think for us, we actually talked about on the plane last night, is you got to build that equity, right? You got to build that. You got to show people what you're capable of. And I think me and him, we had to build that trust in knowing, sometimes you can have too many guys. You know what I mean? Because then you start trying to figure out who's going to take the shot, who's going to do this, who's going to do that. But I think there's a trust factor there. And I'd be rooting like hell for Book, man. When he got like an ISO on somebody, like as soon as he about to shoot it, I'm like, that's three. But the biggest thing is that we done built it up with our team. And I hate to bring it back to me, but it was a conversation we had on the plane last night. And I don't know if we talked about this, but what's giving me the biggest perspective is changing teams in my career. It's changing teams. And I would tell any guy who's been drafted to a team and is thinking about like leaving or something like that, is your situation is your situation, but always remember that team that drafted you sometimes has some type of loyalty towards you, right? Like when it's your team, it's your team. Right now, some crazy stuff happened and you got to go your separate ways or whatnot, but it's something to be said about being with your team. Because even though I went from New Orleans to the Clippers, like when I went from Clippers to Houston, that was a damn wake-up call. You know what I mean? Like, you get there and it's like, hey, nice to have you here, but it wasn't no loyalty from nobody to me there. You know what I mean? See how they traded my ass.
It was James' team.
Right. And so you just got to be conscious of that. Like, I feel like another team they may not have, but didn't even let me know that I was getting traded. And then you got to prove yourself over again. I think that's the thing that's made me competitive too. Like I was telling Monty last night, when I got to Houston, I remember one of our first games or something like that, we was playing somebody and the game was kind of close or something like that. And I looked at James. I was like, yo, give it to me. Give it to me. And I scored or whatever. And everybody was like, hey, yeah. And I'm like, what the hell are y'all so excited about? Like, I do this, right? And then I went to OKC, right? And so I remember being in practice at OKC and I would do something and make a shot or something like that. And they was looking at me like, oh, he can play. The fuck you mean? You know, like it was that all over again, right? So started hitting clutch shots or something like that in OKC and they like, oh man, he can play. Boom, get to Phoenix last year. And I was telling Monty last night, I think it was our game in Denver. It was in Denver earlier in the season and the game was on the line and I had the ball and I went left and like I hit a floater or something like that that locked the game up. And everybody was like, oh man, he could. And I'm sitting here like, well, damn. You know, but I'm telling you, like a lot of people don't realize that's what you have to do over and over again and that's fine. You know what I mean? That's fine. But a lot of times when you stay with that same team, everybody know it.
But how do you, with your track record, not get like a little bit frustrated by that happening over and over again?
Because I'm competitive. It's fine. I can show you better than I can tell you.
He's describing competitive stamina here.
Yeah,
This is what he's describing.
I can show you better than I can tell you. You know what I mean? You can fix your face like you surprised, but it is what it is. But I'm just saying, everybody can't deal with that. Everybody not gonna want to deal with that. But it's.
What does 2022 CP, Phoenix Sun CP, have that 07, 08 young New Orleans Chris Paul didn't have?
A whole different eating regimen, a whole different training regimen. It's so much I done learned about my body over the years. You know what I mean? There's a discipline, like a peace too. Like there's a joy. Like I'm always gonna play with a chip on my shoulder. You know what I mean? But I don't know. It's almost like cruise control. And when I say that, I mean the game is the game. And 07, 08, I was 3 years in. So I was watching games, you know, pretty often still then or whatnot. But I was having parties after every game back then. But now
you were in the streets.
Yeah, I was for sure in the streets. But now is, I don't know, like I really love this game. Like I'm the person who, Jay to laugh about it, like I get excited when I look and see that it's a lot of games on. Right? Like I wake up sometimes and I be like, oh, it's 13 games on tonight. Hell yeah. You know what I mean? Like that's, like I love the game like that because I'm a watch. And I feel like at this point, I'm probably gonna see something that's gonna help me or help us in what we're trying to do.
Is there anything from 07, 08 New Orleans Chris Paul that you wish you had still?
That I wish I had? Shit, I thought I was gonna win MVP that year. Like for real.
Yeah.
Like I thought I was gonna win MVP that year. And it's crazy. I think I averaged like 23, 11 and something. I led the league in steals and assists and all that. But what you see like in the league too is that it's scoring. It's scoring. You know what I mean? Like if you score, you probably have a shot at it. But 07, 08, I actually thought, okay, I ain't get it this year. I'll get it next year. I'll get it that next year. You know what I mean? But
is it a conscious decision that you make basically for 3 quarters to be mildly aggressive at basketball? And then it gets to the 4th quarter. I mean, dude, last night's a great example of this. There are literally games where if you were to look at a box score at the end of the 2nd quarter or midway through the 3rd, like Chris has 7 points.
I've thought about that before too. I'd be like, damn, I suck.
No, but this, you used to do this to a degree in with the Clippers, except of course at the end of a quarter when we were in the bonus, you'd find a way to get a rip through and get to the free throw line, or you'd run in front of a big and get run over. You just find a way to get fouled.
Yeah.
But to a degree, you did it then. More so when you got to OKC, I started noticing this, and certainly this year especially. But there's like almost a conscious effort. I'm going to distribute. I'm going to run the offense. Obviously, Monty's attention to detail, your attention to detail. Like, we're going to execute our shit. And then I'm conserving energy. Maybe I'm putting words in your mouth.
Let me really break it down.
I want to hear it.
Let me really
and then
break
it gets
it down
to the fourth quarter and you go.
Okay, so damn, I can't, like, only you am I really gonna go through all this and break all this down with you. So when we played together with the Clippers, you went crazy in the first quarter. Like, it was just a thing. Like,
the only time I got plays called for me. That in the third quarter, beginning of the third.
Shit, every play Doc drew up was for the damn shooting guard. What you mean? Everything was you coming off a pin down or something. But I did used to notice that you used to like really, really get loose like during warm-ups. Like really, really like JJ over there doing all the stretches. And I'm like, damn, he ready to go. And think about it this way. For most of my career, I played the entire first quarter, right? So it's crazy. And I'm still adjusting now and people wouldn't even notice. But I always, especially my first 8-10 years, I played the whole first quarter, sit the first 6 minutes of the second, play the whole third, right? So that's sort of been a thing. Like I'll get guys going and then at some point in the first quarter, I would sort of get going. I still ain't really got used to it, but that's how I like start the game off. And then I come out, you know what I mean? And so I've talked to Monty about this sometimes because I'll be like, hey man, as soon as I start getting loose and warm, it's time for me to come out. But think about it, for years, I played like that. And when I get loose and warm, I kill towards the end of the first or something. Mike Wilkes, you know, Mike Wilkes was in OKC with me. He kept telling me, I'll never forget it, Wilkes was like, hey, C, man, you know you coming out like at the 6 minute mark or something like that in the first quarter. So you need to get you like 4 shots early in the game, something like that. But I don't know how to play like that. You know what I mean? Like I'm still learning, seriously. Like to come out like you would, because like I said, think about the Clippers, boom, I get you going. I'm gonna play the rest of the first. I'm gonna get going at some point, but it's still a thing.
I don't know why I just thought of this, but when CP was in OKC, he flew into New Orleans and CJ and I went and
we went to LSU game.
We went to the LSU game, and I remember on that car ride, you complaining that OKC was managing your minutes. Like you were basically on a minutes restrict. This is wild to think about. Like the start of that year, you were on a minutes restriction of like 25 or 26. I don't remember the exact number. It was like 25 or 26 minutes, a minutes restriction. That team ended up in 5th place, overachieved. You made 2nd team All-NBA.
5th place because we didn't finish the season. If we had played that game that got canceled, we'd have won, would have been in 4th place. We was on our way up the standings, but you can keep going.
Sicko. It was just, well, I don't know. I don't have a question. I just thought of that just now. Like I remember that car ride and you being pissed off because they had you on a minutes restriction and you ended up getting 2nd team All-NBA.
I never forget sitting in Indiana, man. We was losing like in the 3rd quarter and we went down like 15 or something. I was playing with OKC and I was like, yo, let me go back in. They was like, nah, we down. Like, we don't want to get your minutes up. Oh, man. That's why I love Billy Donovan, because he knew I was pissed. We ended up having a meeting, and I get it, right? Like, they got me there in OKC initially, right? And they were worried about my history, right? Because I played, 50-some games in Houston both years. And so they were trying to basically protect their investment, all right? Keep it real. Like, they wanted to make sure that I stayed healthy so that they could probably move me at some point. 100%. And I kept telling Sam and everybody, I was like, listen, I am fine. They was like, oh, we sure you are, Chris. We good. We just gonna let you rest. All right. I'm gonna be an asshole here in a minute. Y'all better let me play. And I actually did a post-game interview. I forgot who we played. But we played somebody, and it was the first time I played over 30 minutes or something like that. And I went crazy in the post-game interview. They was like, what was it tonight? I was like, they finally let me free. I said that. You know what I mean? And I got a great relationship with them, you know, in OKC. But initially, yeah, that was the case.
I wanted to ask about Devin. About obviously the last time you came on, you hadn't played with him yet. And so what you've been surprised by about his skill set, because his skill set is something else, but just like actually playing with him versus playing against him.
Man, listen, I done played with some great shooters, right? Like JJ, I played with Peja Stojakovic. I played with some like knockdown shooters. Book is different. Like we do shooting games every day. And I say this all the time. I used to kick JJ's ass in shooting games.
We need the video of this.
Bubs.
We need the video.
What? Me, you, and Maul would do like the shooting games, like where. Listen, I'll tell you this right.
My ass.
Well,
you
listen,
would occasionally beat me.
No, don't occasionally.
Oh my God!
This is the difference. This is the difference. If we talking about just catch and shoot, stand there, no defense running at you or whatnot, I can do that all day. Now, if you ask me to run off a screen and catch and shoot, I can't do that.
That's actually true. You're
it.
probably a better standstill shooter than I am. 100%.
Exactly.
100%.
I know that.
But you didn't beat me every time. That's not
okay,
factual
right.
at
If
all.
we did 10, it was like 8 out of 10. But I always say this about Bubs. It's like, I can't do that, right? So like I have a crazy appreciation for guys who can sprint and just, I can't do that, not even a little bit, right?
Yeah.
And so like to see Devin, like at times when he just running, boom, and he go right, left, catch and shoot, boom, and he can do it off the dribble, and he a guard, right? That's one of the biggest things that I respect the most about him. And he a hooper. Like he just love to hoop. And he crazy. He crazy. Like Sicko, he's another one.
He's another one.
He's another one.
That's why you guys get along.
That's why it works. It's because he's so competitive. He's so competitive. He another guy that I know, like if a game going on, he'll text me or I'll text him. So
my follow-up to this is, you can't say anyone on the Suns. What young players do you just like to watch when you're watching all these games?
That's a real good question. I love watching Darius Garland. You know what I mean? Some of these guys I coached AAU against. You know what I mean? So we had a close game in Cleveland this year, and down the stretch, Darius had 5 fouls, and it was like a 2-point game, 3-point game. I caught the ball, called for a ball screen. Darius jumped in there, sweep through, fouled him out, and sort of closed the game out.
This conversation has come full circle.
You know what I mean? And I remember telling him after the game, like, keep hooping, man, because, like, I like watching him play. You know what I mean? Obviously, I watch Ja. I watch all the guys. I love watching Kyle, you know what I mean, Lowry, because that's my dog, and he thinks the game the way that I think it. You know what I mean? So, like, I appreciate watching guys who not just running around out there playing, who's out there thinking the game, you know, like steals, right?
Yeah.
Let me just say this right here while we're talking about it. Everybody always thinks that if you get steals, that it means you gamble, right? Right? Did AI win Defensive Player of the Year or something like that? I think he did.
I don't know if he won Defensive Player of the Year. I would have to look on.
I don't know.
Yeah.
They go by all the metrics or whatever, Defensive Player of the Year, who was this and stuff like that. Like I appreciate, like DeJounte Murray. He's a guy that's always up there high and still like that's IQ, that's anticipation, that's, I don't know.
There are generally people though that tally a lot of steals that are not good defenders. That has happened before. Oh yeah.
Consistently?
Oh yeah.
The other
I'm not going to name the guy's name. I played with him.
The other thing is,
but do you remember the year that Marc Gasol was named
Defensive Player of the Year
and did not make first team all defense?
Yeah, that's right.
How in the hell?
That's right. Forgot
about that. He was not named on first team all defense.
Here's I actually was thinking about this the other day. There's a chance that Joel Embiid could win MVP this year and not make first team all NBA. Think about that. Jokic would get it.
So Jokic would get it and Joel would be the MVP?
There's a chance.
There is a chance, but I don't think that'll happen.
Okay.
No, I'm not saying like that Joel won't. What's his name? I think they would be smart enough to put the
MVP on the first team all NBA.
Come on, man. Come on, man.
They weren't smart enough with Mark.
Yeah, I heard somebody say something about positionless basketball or something like that the other day, or whatnot, talking about like voting on this or voting on that.
Like the All NBA team should be 5 of whoever.
Yeah, because who's to say what position is who now?
Well, I think it's like your shot creators, your primary ball handlers.
Who's to
then your
say who's the
wings.
3 and the 4? Like I feel like
There's
now,
no difference now.
but yeah,
There's
you
no
know what I mean.
difference
It's like all the guys who was threes when we.
There's a guard, that guy that brings the ball up the court. There's wings, and then there's a big guy.
Yeah.
That's generally it. It's changed. CP, appreciate the time as always.
Always, Bubs.
Pleasure.
Appreciate y'all.
Looking forward to dinner with you later tonight.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.